Hey guys, welcome to day one of my 5-day Halloween thrift flip series. This week I'm turning thrifted finds into spooky, fun decor. Let's get crafting. Alright, so the first flip, I'm going to be painting little cute ghosts on these little glass jars I saw at the thrift store earlier. I love the shape of them because they kind of flare out like a ghost, and they were super cheap, so 3 of them in a pack for $1.99. But when I went to buy it at the counter and I was packing it up, my clumsy gene kind of like just took hold, and I unfortunately ended up cracking one of them. So what I'm gonna do with you guys is see if I can salvage it still and try to piece it back together. I'm gonna be careful here not to cut myself. I was talking over with my husband and he recommended using super glue, so I'm gonna try that right now. So I'm just gonna add it to the edges, and then I'm gonna take the other piece, hold it in place for 10 to 45 seconds. Seems to have done the trick. The real test here is going to be when I paint over it, if it still stays in one piece. So I'm gonna put this one aside, let it dry a little bit longer, and then we're gonna start on the 2 unbroken vases. All right, for these 2 little jars, we're gonna start it off by cleaning it with a Lysol wipe. So I just have a plain Lysol wipe here, but you can also use water and a cloth, just to get all the debris and dust and like anything off of it, so then the paint really sticks nicely to the surface. All right, so now it's nice and clean. I'm just gonna give it a couple seconds to dry, and then while it's drying, I'm gonna talk about paint. So this project is super easy. You're just gonna need 2 paint colors, white and black. Now in terms of the type of paint, I'm gonna go ahead and paint it in with chalk paint because it's much thicker and you'll need less coats to get coverage over glass. So basically it's gonna save me time by using the chalk paint. But if you don't have chalk paint on hand, don't worry, don't go out to buy it at the store. If you have acrylic paint on hand, then use that. The only thing with acrylic paint is that it might take a few extra layers to get full coverage. All right, they're nice and dry. So I'm just gonna crack open my chalk paint. I'm gonna get my paintbrush out, and then it's really nice and thick. I'm gonna show you the consistency. Like, it's super thick, so it's gonna go on really nice and luscious. So I'm just gonna hold the jar like that and then just paint it over top. And you can see here, like on the first layer, it's giving full coverage. You don't see any of that glass through. So I'm just gonna twirl the glass around and then get to the other side. Now, if you can't find jars like this at the thrift store, you can actually do this same technique on any type of glass jar. I've seen them with like really tall, beautiful ones, or even mason jars work. So even going through your recycling bin and grabbing whatever glass jars you have there and doing the same technique would work really well. And now I'm going to attempt to paint the broken jar. So let's see the crack here. So that's the crack. And if I try to wiggle it, it does not move, which is a good sign. So it looks like the super glue did its job, but we're gonna really test it out by painting over top. So what I'm gonna try to do is go really gentle over the crack and not try to push down too hard on it. And I wasn't exactly elegant with the application of the glue. You can kind of still see some of it when the paint is over top, but it's gonna give this ghost some character, so I'm okay with it. It's holding up really well. I'm very surprised. I thought maybe even with the super glue, it would have some give, but it's actually really solid. Okay, so I'm gonna let this one dry too, and then I'm gonna come back and do a second coat. And also, while my paint is drying, I'm gonna go ahead and put my paintbrush in a Ziploc bag because I don't wanna put it in water because it's just it's gonna dilute the chalk paint a little bit too much. So I'm just gonna Ziploc it up so it doesn't dry out. One thing I forgot to mention is that you wanna place the painted jars down on a piece of wax paper or parchment paper because it won't stick to it while it dries. And also, if you're in a rush to get your layer dried, you can also speed up drying time with the use of a hair dryer, which is what I'm gonna do now. All right, so our second coat is nice and dry on our jars. And I just wanna take a quick moment before we get to the fun ghost expressions to give you a couple of ideas. So after these jars were dried, I took a look on the inside and I really liked the look of having the paint behind and then having that shiny, glossy, white, reflective surface on the front. So another option here is instead of painting the exterior of your glass jar, you can also try painting the interior of your glass jar and you get a really nice shiny white look. The other option is if you don't want to paint your glass white, you can actually look for a type of glass called milk glass, and you can find them in the thrift stores. It's basically like glass that's already colored with white, so you can skip that painting step and go right to the ghost expressions. All right, now for the ghosty expressions, we're going to start. I have basically 3 different ones that I'm gonna show you just to give variety and different personality and characters to each of our ghosts. So the first one is gonna be our traditional ghost face. So with that, we're gonna do 2 oval eyes. So here I'm just using simple, basic acrylic black paint. And then we're just gonna repeat it on the other side. And then we're gonna do a big oval open mouth. And this is gonna give us that kind of spooky ghost look where he's kind of saying boo in a playful way. And then we're going to paint in our second ghost face. And here too, like you can paint in any expression. So if you're feeling anything in particular, go for it. Just have fun here. Go with your inner ghost. And now for our mouth, we're gonna make this ghost nice and smiley. A huge, big, happy smile. It's a happy ghost. Now for our third ghost, we're gonna make him spunky. He's gonna be a spunky one. So for this one, we're gonna paint one of the eyes like huge, like a really big black eye. That. And then the other eye is gonna be smaller. Okay, so that's that one. And then for the mouth, it's gonna be, so the last step for these ghosts is, because it's on glass, I like to seal it with a top coat so that the paint doesn't scratch off of the glass. So what I like to use, just to make it super easy, is a spray can variety. So I'm using this one by Rust-Oleum Chalked, which is in a matte clear, but you can use any sealer you have on hand. Hope you guys enjoyed day 1 of the series. In tomorrow's video, I'll be transforming these cute black jars into whimsical witches potions. As always, lots of peace, love, and beautiful color your way.